Personal adventures to me are the best. Lifeblood of this show. Thank you for joining in. I do this show each and every day of the work week from the Impact Power Sports Studio. Impact Power Sports online at impactpowersportsmi.com. If you are in the market for a Yamaha golf cart, they've got those. You can trick it out and have a lot of fun with that. And also, side-by-sides, ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, scooters, e-bikes, go-karts, they have them all at Impact Power Sports. You can also check out their service department if your existing gear already that you have, experiences a problem, maybe you need some maintenance on it, whatnot, all there at Impact Power Sports, impactpowersportsmi.com. Okay, so I see there's a conversation in the chat. It says, I have watched the show Unknown Number on Netflix, which has been a big topic on this show since it all unfolded when I watched it last week, and you all have watched it too. This crazy-ass documentary. Full title, Unknown Number, The High School Catfish. Corey says, hey, I just watched it. Maureen says, what did you think of it? Corey says, the twist is apparent. I don't understand how it's possible. And more so as a girl dad. What the fuck? So I'm guessing you're thinking what you're getting at is how could a parent do such a heinous thing? And maybe that's what you're talking about. Maybe not. I think the fact that mom did do that, I've pondered that myself. I was like, how could this happen? How could a person be that defective that this is what that they would do? I really can't believe it. Corey says, I'm trying to dance around spoilers, and I appreciate that, but cat's out of the bag at this point. Honestly, if you haven't watched it after all of the hype for it, I mean, I encourage you to rush to Netflix to watch it. And honestly, there's a lot of people who are like, it doesn't matter. It's still absurd. A spoiler does not matter at this point for this. It's that grandiose. That much of a malfeasance of humanity. Corey says, how the fuck do you tell your kid to KTS, unalive themselves. It hurts my heart to even think that, like, I try to put myself into this place of crazy mom, sending that off, or putting myself into like the kid getting that message. And then, as terrible as that is, to find out after the fact that it came from your mom. And then she's like, yeah, I want to be with my daughter. Corey adds, the poor girl has Stockholm Syndrome 100%. Well, it appeared that way when it first was revealed. She's only 14 or 15 at the time. She's much older now. No, you're right, man. The thing about Unknown Number is there's a lot. It almost takes time to get over it because it's such a mind fuck. I remember when I first watched it, it was a bad mistake because I watched it just before bedtime. We talked about that. It kept me up. Kabubi says, how the hell do you tell your daughter she's a slut and she's going to bang her boyfriend? Oh, I know. I know. Megan says, fuck spoilers at this point. Someone ruined Harry Potter for me last week. Oh, you're late to the party on Harry Potter, I see. Oh, boy. Megan says, last week, that was one of my favorite nights. Impromptu shit talking about a terrible woman with good people. It was the best. That was when we did our impromptu emergency episode review of Unknown Number. Black Belt Nick says, for as bad as Unknown Number was, I experienced worse with my friend's ex-wife. Well, let me just be the first to say that we're all very, very curious. And one would only hope that whatever it is you're referencing there would be able to be talked about with the group in the chat. Is this the type of thing, Nick, that we need to do a very special Patreon episode where you reveal whatever it is you are referencing right there? I mean, that's a lot to say. You experience worse with your friend's ex-wife. I don't know what could possibly be worse. I am interested. I'm just throwing that out there. I won't ask again. If you don't say anything, then that's totally cool. My God. All right, I was going to read one. Amanda, I wanted to get to this. She writes, okay, he needs to talk about the train incident in Charlotte. No spoilers for me. I am not up to speed on this story. I started to hear about it, and then I started to see about it. And then I stopped myself because it looked like something that I didn't want to see. If I'm understanding this right, bad guy attacks girl on a train and kills her, stabs her multiple times, and that's that. That's all I know of this. I don't know if the guy's caught. I don't know if the guy's alive. I don't know if the guy's dead. When you say I need to talk about it, now I'm curious. Now I want to know. I don't want to look it up on the show and break it down, and if it comes up in the chat, fine. But I'm not equipped to talk about it right now. The suggestion being that she would have wanted me to have knowledge of it and talk about it here, which, yeah, I could see that. A topical current event story by all means. Corey says, I saw the uncensored video. Yeah, I did see that was floating around because Amanda said it's censored. But yeah, I had seen that there is uncensored video. Amanda says maybe on Patreon. Yeah, maybe. And Amanda asked Corey where to find the uncensored woman of the guy slaughtering the chick. I don't want to see that. Amanda's like, hey, come on. Let's see it. Megan says she was a Ukrainian refugee charged with causing an act of death on mass transportation system. I think there's supposed to be some punctuation there, right? Megan wrote something, and it looks to me, it says, it looks like she was a Ukrainian refugee charged with causing an act of death on mass transportation system. Now, the way that reads that the girl who was murdered has been charged with a crime. So I'm just going to go out on a limb and think that that's a disaster and not written correctly. Last I heard, if someone murders you, you're not charged with your own death. But the way you wrote that, it makes it seem like that's what happened. All right. Rich says this is one of those times where allegedly does not apply. He totally did it and is guilty, the guy on the train. Red Bull Brain Chris says, no, Megan, the refugee girl is the one killed. Yes. I thought, all right. Yeah, so what she meant was bad guy gets on the train, kills the Ukrainian refugee, and then that was that. Amanda says the guy was caught. I can't believe no one did anything right away. It's so fucked up. Oh, God. She escaped from a war-torn country just to get stabbed to death by some homeless psychopath, repeat offender, while minding her own business. Bob says it's not his first time committing a violent crime, has been arrested over a dozen times, and a liberal judge just kept letting him out. Okay, I don't know about that. This is, again, I'm learning this in real time from you. So are you suggesting that in the past year, because what you just wrote is he's been arrested over a dozen times. Okay, not his first time committing a violent crime. He's been arrested over a dozen times, and liberal judge just kept letting him out. Okay, so I don't know the charges on every one of those, and I don't know the time frame. You're probably right, but I'd need to see more as to what's going on, because you know that somebody's going to point the finger at the judge, and that's probably warranted. I mean, if the guy is a violent offender and he keeps wandering around on our streets, I mean, give me a fucking break. Big Buddha says, ever since being scarred by seeing faces of death at a group sleepover at 12 years old, I'm good with not seeing the uncensored video. I'm with you. I'm not into that either. All those beheading videos, remember when it was like cool to behead people in the Middle East? And they would record it and send it along. And then we would make those videos like they say, all right, be warned, this is a horrible video. And then everybody would gather around the TV. I never watched one of those. Thank God that became like no longer the norm. You know, you drop your kid off at daycare and the kids are seated around the AV cart watching beheadings. Nobody helped her. Red Bull Brain Chris says he's a 14-time convicted felon and diagnosed schizophrenic. He shouldn't have been out free. Okay. Everyone else on the bus just watched it happen and did nothing as she fell off the seat and died. Oh, that's the old Kitty Genovese scenario. She was murdered in the streets of New York back in the day. Like for 45 minutes, 38 people just stood and watched her bleed. I guess the judge never even passed the bar, was appointed to the position, so that judge should probably be shot. Corey says there is no gore in the video. It's not gross. It's more heartbreaking. Yeah, I can't take the anguish and the pain. And I know what you mean by that. It isn't the gore of those that gets me, even though I was talking about the beheadings. It's the knowledge that there's anguish and despair and holy crap, this is it. I can't. Yeah, I don't do that shit. The only one about as far as I'll go is 9/11 jumpers, because you're just seeing them fly. I don't know why it shouldn't make any difference, because what I just said completely contradicts what I said before. But I don't know, maybe because we've seen so much about 9/11 that it's like I've become more desensitized to it, I guess. Corey says, yeah, don't watch it. Then you see the fear in her eyes, and then it's just over. Oh, God. Poor thing. Tophus is here. He says, yeah, I can deal with the gore more than watching someone die in front of you and not being able to do anything about it. Yeah, that's tough. Pooh Bear, she's wired differently. She's a rush in and helper. She's a helper to the 100th degree. When we first got married, we were at a beach, the Higgins Lake Beach. I was like 22 years old. Pooh Bear's 25 or 26. And we had just gotten to the beach. We only had one kid at the time. It was Jim. So I'm carrying Jim. I got the pack and play and carrying all this shit to the beach. We were up at Fear Bunker North, and we wanted to go. It was at that time my dad's property. We all said, all right, let's go drink at the beach, Higgins Lake. This place is incredible. It's like an oasis of awesomeness. Before the terrible part of this story, this beach has this sandbar. And you can walk out probably a half mile, and it's still up to your knees. It's incredible. So anyway, as we're approaching, we see a pack of people, all in almost like a hive. And they're panicking, and they're yelling and screaming. And the next thing I know, I watch her do this. She's 4'11", and at the time, 90 pounds. She weaves her way in through these people, and the next thing I know, she's giving mouth to mouth and doing chest compressions on this child. This child had drowned. Well, it was a drowning victim, 6 years old. And so there she was. And everybody's cheering her on. Nobody knew what to do. Everybody was just screaming. And so I'm like, oh, my God. Who is this woman? And that was an unfortunate circumstance because terribly that little one did not make it. But Pooh Bear gave it her best. She was trying so hard. Fast forward to San Francisco, 2009, on the beach in San Francisco. God damn it. Same scene, but it was that old lady. I've told you that story many, many times. I got a video camera. Jim's in the water with his sister. Jackie's just farting around. Everybody's very young. Pooh Bear and I are on the beach. Cold day. It's always cold on the San Francisco shoreline. 55 degrees. Water's fucking freezing. On my video, you can see a kite in the distance, probably like 200 yards away. And then on the video, which I'm shooting video of the kids, oh, look at the kids are in the water. We're having so much fun on our trip. Yay. You see the kite fluttering into the water. And in the video, I'm like, oh, what's up with that guy? Now, it was about this time I shut the video off. But what had happened was the guy who was flying the kite on the shore over the water, he sees a body in the water. And so right about the time that kite starts fluttering down, that guy is running into the water. And that's all the information I needed. And in my brain, I said, there's someone there. There's a drowning victim. So I said to Pooh, I go, hey, that guy's pulling somebody out of the water. Go. And so she takes off like a bat out of hell. And Jim, get your sister out of the water. He gets Madison. And I go, follow me. And we all run like the goddamn Super Friends to this point. She gets there several seconds ahead of me. I see this guy pull this old lady out of the surf. She's got a one-piece bathing suit on and a swim cap. She's gray. Eyes are open, but she's gone. She's so fucking dead. If you've heard this story before, bear with me, but I think it's worth repeating because we've stumbled onto it. If you haven't heard it, holy shit. Laying on the sand, and Pooh Bear is doing chest compressions on this chick. The guy is doing mouth to mouth. They have it down. I think it's, at the time, it was 15 compressions for one breath. And so they're doing it. And I knew she was doing it right because, you know, like you see it on TV and they just kind of like put their hands on there. A lot of people who teach CPR hate that the show's depicted that way because that's not correct. You have to be able to have movement to pump the heart, so those cartilage and bones have to kind of give a little bit. And it's going to be painful when they wake up out of it, if they wake up out of it, because you've kind of cracked the ribs. But that's what you got to do. And she's doing it. She's going deep. That heart's just going. So I knew she was doing it correctly. We both have CPR training, and but we're not certified. So I call 911. While this is happening, 2 or 3 people are walking by the beach, and they just keep walking. It's like that chick on the train. They looked and just kept walking. No one said, hey, because typically you're going to need someone to urge you on while you're doing it, or maybe like if you know CPR, here, let me relieve you, But nobody did anything. I'll never forget that. It was like 3 or 4 couples that just walked past. So that's the dynamic. And I call 911, and then, so that was surprising. And then this was surprising, too, because the 911 operator says, is the person doing the compressions and the 2 people that are administering first aid, first responders, are they certified? And I thought ahead, and I went, if I say no, that might be a problem. So I lied, and I said, oh, yeah, they Red Cross, but I'm panicking at the time. I go, yep. And she goes, okay, because if they're not, they have to stop immediately. So this is now 2 things we have against us. The universe is trying to kill this woman. Other bystanders not helping. And the 911 operator is urging Diana and stranger guy, kite guy, to stop. I'll never forget that. They go, all right, well, since you're certified, keep it going then. I go, yeah, of course. She goes, all right, they're on the way. Where are you on the beach? And I go, there will be someone at the dune. My son, he'll be waving you down. Okay. So I said to Jim, I go, Jim, go and do that. So he's gone. So he's waving at the dude. Now, from the time Kite falls into the ocean to the time the rescue crews get there is 15 or 20 minutes. Corey writes, sorry, guys, I forgot my CPR card at home. I can't help. Runner girl Amy says, I just had CPR training again, and they said the new way was not to breathe in the person. We were told they changed it, one, because breath doesn't matter as much. People were less likely to do CPR if they had the breath in the person. Yeah, I've heard that too. I don't get that. I don't understand why they would do that. Because though on your exhale, you're blowing, that's the carbon dioxide oxygen exchange, where it is oxygen, out is CO2. There's still a lot of oxygen in the CO2. So I've never understood that. So I do not pay attention to that. Nor did the guy who was doing it. And the lady, we started to think there was hope because she barfed. So, this big wad of shit comes out and seaweed. And I'll never forget, it was a brown seaweed with those lumps of kelp. Those kelp testicles were lodged in the chick's a windpipe. We're like pulling it out, like starting up a lawnmower. So the amount of time from when they started administering CPR to the time that the beach patrol comes ripping through it's like on the sand dune. And so they see Jim and they come driving over. It's like 15 minutes. Pooh Bear and this dude, this hippie, have been working on this lady for that long. They get out of the beach patrol vehicle. One of them has a defibrillator. They rush up. They relieve Pooh Bear and Dude. They're both exhausted. They work on the chick. Pooh Bear's upset. She's crying. I'm consoling her, and like I was actually like going, come on, you can do it. I was like trying to be like a coach on the sidelines when she was doing it. Yeah, come on, suck it up. Let's go. Let's go. Save this bitch's life. Come on. So they get this woman on the thing, and they put her in the ambulance, and there's still some of the stragglers. This is several minutes later. And then the AED, the defibrillator, it's still there, and it hasn't been touched. And so I go, so you didn't, what's up with that? Why didn't you use that? And they go, no, we couldn't. And I go, why not? Why? You could have saved her life. And they go, no, you don't use it when they have a pulse and are breathing. When we took over, those two had brought her back. She had a pulse and she was breathing. And she did not when they brought her out. She was fucking gone. And I go, really? And she goes, yeah, and that doesn't happen often. Typically, we have to engage the AED in order to restart the heart. But those two fuckers did it. And I was like, no shit. They go, yeah, she is in the best shape possible considering what has happened. So we're like, oh my God. Okay. So they take this lady away. And by the way, after that, I was thinking about all the little things that had to happen before that for us to encounter that. Like we had been at the zoo prior to that. And if you want to see where this is, look up the Cliff House, San Francisco. It's this historic landmark. It's like a quarter mile south of that. There's a beach right there. Forget the name of it. I think it's called Long Branch Beach or something. I don't know. So there's more to this story. There's like epilogue shit. We don't know what's going on. And when we were at the zoo, like I got there was an issue that caused something slowed me down. I think I was returning the cart that not the cart, but the stroller that we had for Madison, and I had to pay for it. And for whatever reason, we were delayed to get out of there. Like turning the cart in, the rental cart, and paying for it, stroller, took longer than expected. And had that not happened, the timing would have been different. You know, where the way it was, the timing that it was, the circumstances that fell into place when they did, seeing that kite fall, seeing that guy drag the woman. I remember I was looking for a parking spot and I couldn't find one. So had we not had the delays of returning the stroller and finding a parking spot at the beach, the timing wouldn't have worked out. Pooh Bear would not have been there. And that lady might not have had that care. But now we're wondering, is she going to make it? We get home and we're watching the news, and it's on the news. Top story. And I've looked for this, tried to get it, and I have never been able to find it. They described it as two good Samaritans rescued a woman who had apparently drowned. And they said where Pooh Bear was from. And the other one was from, I don't even know if he was a local or what. So that was unbelievable. But we still don't know what's happening. So we went to the firehouse where they were dispatched from. And we got to be kind of pals with those people that worked at the firehouse. So, you know, they're talking with Pooh Bear, and they're talking to her about how if it weren't for her and the other guy, this woman would not have had a chance. She would not have survived. We don't know if she's going to survive. We can't tell you that. We don't know ourselves. But if she does have any chance, it's because of what you did. So it's like awesome, you know? And they're giving Jim and Jack and Maddie a tour of the fire truck and all that shit. And we're having coffee and hanging out with people at the firehouse. And Pooh Bear's talking about her dad was a fire captain in Michigan. And so they go, well, you can try to call the nurse's station. They won't give you any information. So we start calling the nurse's station at the hospital. And they're right. And I start lying to finagle my way into there, and that's not working. They're sniffing me out. They know it's me. They know who I am. Like, we can't tell you anything. And I go, look, all you have to do is confirm whether or not she is going to survive. That's all I'm asking you to do. All you have to do is say yes or no, and nobody's going to know. Can you confirm that this woman is going to survive? The nurse broke all protocol. She goes, yes, I can confirm that. What? Fuck yes! All right, so several days pass. We have put in at the nurse's station Pooh Bear's cell phone. And I'll never forget it because we were driving around and we were crossing the Golden Gate Bridge. And we're coming back into the city, and the phone rings. And it's a local to San Francisco phone number. And as Becca Shea says, Cliff House closed in 2020. I know. God, I can't believe that. Phone rings. I'm like, uh-oh. I pick it up. I'm driving. And I hear, hello. I'm like, what the fuck? And it's this rough voice. And she says, is Diana there? I go, yeah, sure. And she goes, this is, and she says her name. I don't remember her name. She goes, this is, blah, 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 blah. I don't remember his name. Her Dolores. She saved my life. I go, hang on. And I hand her the phone. And Pooh Bear and this woman are talking. And it was incredible. She's crying. Everybody's in the car crying. Unbelievable. She had a rough voice because of she was kind of dinged up after all of the violent compressions and the seaweed that was in her throat. But she lived. That phone call ended, and that was the end of that. Never heard from again. No. It was that, though, that led her to wanting to become an EMT. And then she came back home and she started EMT training. She passed with flying colors, top of her class. And then she started paramedics training. She's going to be a paramedic. And then she said, it's too much work. I quit. And I said, all right, sounds good to me. That was the end of that adventure. I have a picture in my house because I posted it for this reason on my wall. Put it on my wall, and I'm going to show it to you right now. The Cliff House is just north of the beach. And before the Cliff House, which you may have looked it up on your own, it's been like built and burnt down like 2 or 3 times. And the old Cliff House was a gigantic Victorian mansion right over the Pacific Ocean. And to the south of that, by not very much, is the beach where this happened. I found a historic photograph from the early part of the 20th century where beachgoers were on the beach in the precisely exact spot where this rescue occurred. In the background, you can see the giant Victorian mansion, and I have that hanging up on my wall in my house, and I'm going to show it to you right now. This picture of O'Neill and I, above my head, that is the Cliff House. Called, obviously, because, and that is the spot within meters of where the rescue took place. That is what the terrain was like. That is where we were. Is that not fucking amazing? That's why I purchased that photograph and framed it and put it up there. There you go. Corey writes, I'm suing you for breaking my ribs. You'll hear from my lawyer. That lady, I believe, was in her 70s. She may still be alive to this day. Yeah, that was, I wish we would have kept in contact with her. Bread Bowl Brain Chris says crabs had already taken up residence in her throat. Big Buddha 001 says, what year did this happen? It happened in July of 2009. That is when that happened. I'm 100% sure of it. If people who know more about tracking stuff like this down than I do, by all means, please. If you do find anything on it, on this moment in time, I would love it. I wish I was thinking more big picture then, to the poignancy of the moment, to have more from it. Starman says, I've been first on the scene for a few different accidents. It's an adrenaline booster. Man Bun Chris says, I forgot about this story. Love a good, easy trip down memory lane. Then Bang the Drum played in the background. By the way, at that same spot where the Cliff House is, there is the remains of the Sutro Baths, which is now a historic landmark. Trying to find a good picture of it. Okay, so this is the existing Cliff House that is not open for business right now. You can see it there. And at the base of it, some rich bastard whose last name is Sutro made a bathhouse. And this is what it looked like. It was completely enclosed, and it's just a series of pools that people would go and bathe in, swim in. And there was a fucking fire that destroyed it at one point, and this is what it looks like now. It's in ruins. Even in ruins, San Francisco's Sutro baths provide healing. No, it doesn't. It's just a catastrophe. This is on the opposite side of where the rescue took place. So there's the Cliff House, and this is north of that. To the south of that is where Pooh Bear rescued that woman. But you go there and you can wander around in those ruins. And this matrix here of concrete, that's where the pools were. From that image that I just showed you. This rock out here in the ocean, this is known as Seal Rock. And it's, quarter mile out, if that. And they called it that because it is inundated with the biggest fucking fat fuck seals you will ever see in your life. And my God, the place, it's just crawling with seals. I don't have a great picture of it anywhere here to show you with the limited time that I have. But this one little shot will give you an idea of how it looks. But much more concentrated. So I'll never forget it because the times that I've been there, I've seen Seal Rock before, and this one actually is not even in San Francisco. It's a different location, but Seal Rock is what it's known as. So you look at it, oh my God, and for some reason, no one knows why, every so often, as a group, every one of the seals will leave that rock. And there's probably 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 of them packed on it. And they swim around, they eat the fish, they come back on the rock, they lay in the sun, they get fat as fuck. And some people think it might be like the temperature of the water, maybe the food supply has moved. They don't know. But what they do is they swim around the bay, and then they go over to a place, it's a very touristy area called Fisherman's Wharf. And this is where a bunch of boats are docked. Rich people put their boats there, and people walk up and down the wharf, and they they go to the restaurants. They might catch a fish from a fishmonger, and it's a good time. It's San Francisco. It's part of the culture. The seals all went to the docks. So there's hundreds of docks at Fisherman's Wharf. Now, everybody's boat has seals on it. So these multi-million-dollar boats, the seals make their way onto the docks. Fat as fuck. And go onto the boats. And it's like Hamas attacking Israel on October 14th. It's that stunning. They mobilize, they swim all the way over there, and you never know when it's going to happen. They jump on the docks, they shit on the boats, they fuck everybody's boats up. Some of them sink because of the weight. It's all listing, go in the water, listing sideways. There's 15,000 pounds of seal on a boat. The seals are laughing. I am not kidding you. The ropes, they eat the ropes. They destroy every slip and the boats that are in the slips. Rich bastards have to get in their boats, move the boats to another place where the goddamn seals aren't, and then they take up residency for as long as they want. There is nothing anyone can do about it. The only people, homeless people and seals have the most rights in the state of California. Now, if I own a billion-dollar yacht and there's a seal shitting on it, I don't want that. I want that seal dead. I'm going to shoot that seal. And the homeless people, when I'm walking there, if they try to get on my goddamn yacht. Becca Shea says the SEALs were there first. No, that's not true. They were on the rock first. They've got the whole fucking rock. When we were there, one time they were on the rock. Another time we go back to the rock. I go, where's all the SEALs? And my cousin says, oh, yeah. Forgot to tell you, they're at the dock. I'm like, oh, no way. And you can't really get too close to them because they will fuck you up. These are gigantic beasts. Oh, outstanding. What an event. Megan's favorite character on Finding Dory is Gerald. Starman says feed both the SEALs and the homeless people antifreeze. Precisely. All right. So this, I have spent a lot of time there over the years. In fact, I need to get back there to see the Armenians. I'll never forget that time. You know, I grew up white bread, middle America, USA. When we went in 2009, my kids and my wife had no idea that 95% of my family is very ethnic. I am not. I mean, I am by blood, but not by culture. All these other Armenians, they all went to actual Armenian school, which is a thing. So they didn't want to lose their culture when they came over to the U.S. So, you know, I walk into my cousin Sarkis's house, and I know this is coming, but no one else does in the family. They have never heard or seen this. They don't know. They think cousin, it's going to be like, just like us. I never forget my cousin. He's got the finger castanets on his fingers, which are the little cymbals, and he's clapping them together, and there's an accordion player and a guy who's got one of those instruments that it's a percussion, and you drag your like a stick. And then the accordion, and then the castanets, and then all of the women dance in this type of belly dancing fashion. And they've got beads on them and weird makeup on their heads and beads hanging off their hair. It was wild. I mean, I've seen it, but they haven't. So it was wild to see them go. Like Jackie says, "Is this our family?" I go, "Yeah, that's the way these people live. It's fucked up." She goes, "Oh my God." So it was. They were, and plus they're really festive. All right, there's no, when they're partying, this is the way they party. You know, us white people, they just get fucked up and beat each other and get on a four-wheeler and jump shit here in Michigan. Not so much there. It's all dancing, accordion, singing weird music, and that. So I was expecting that. They were not. And then we had the food, and it's a gigantic spread. They put all these tables together, and it's nothing you've ever seen before. And the kids didn't want to eat any of it. It's all very ethnic food, and they didn't eat for days any of the food. We would have to go to McDonald's or In-N-Out or White Castle after every visit because, and then if you go there just for like a light lunch to one of my family members' house, it's the same damn thing. It looks like they spent about 30 hours preparing the meal, and all you're going to do is have, you know, like a Caesar salad. And they don't speak English. Well, they do, but they'll only speak it with me because I don't speak Armenian or Farsi. But all they do is, it's all like, hey, and then my kids are like, what the fuck is going on here? I go, I know. Megan is texting me. What are you doing there? Thank you. Man Bun Chris says In-N-Out Burger is so good. Oh, I love it. You're not kidding, man. You know when you eat the food there at In-N-Out Burger, you get salvation. So on the fry container, there's Bible verses on the fry container. And on the drink, there's like Bible verses too. Now, I don't know if they're like Christians around here or if they're actual, that's a rarity sometimes. Occasionally you will get a Christian who is 100% loving and giving and not a white supremacist Nazi asshole. I don't know if In-N-Out is like that. I know that all of the Christians around here are like the worst people on the planet. If I'm around someone that go, hey, yeah, well, I'm a Christian. I'm like, well, I'm leaving. I can't be here. That used to mean something. Like 30 years ago, if you said, hey, I'm a Christian, they go, oh, well, thank God I'm here. I'm with a loving, sweet soul who accepts everyone and is polite and friendly, and God bless them. Now, if someone says, yeah, I'm a Christian, I'm like, oh, well, I would rather be with an axe murderer. I can't be in this room with you. I got to leave. Man Bun Chris says now it's the opposite most times. Yeah. I don't like to, like, I have some friends who are Christians, but I haven't like disowned them, but I've always got a wayward eye on them for them to do something fucked up. And if they do something fucked up, then I'm like, all right, we can't be friends anymore. And then I just ghost them. That's what I do. I don't have patience for that shit anymore. Man Bun Chris says now it's opposite most times, but I still love Chick-fil-A. And I went to Cornerstone, LOL. Speaking of which, I think we have Amanda is all over it. She has sent me some information that we need to discuss. It's a one-day gathering of local Christians coming up Saturday at Van Andel Arena. Now, whenever I see these types of promotional pieces, they always look the same. It looks like a movie poster for a Marvel movie. You see all the stars of Christianity that are going to be at Van Andel Arena. And you too can attend. Life Surge is what it's known as. It says worship, wisdom, work, wealth for kingdom impact. So these folks are going to teach you about those things. Worship, wisdom, work, and wealth. Starring world's #1 motivational speaker, Nick, and his last name is Vujicic. Must be pretty good. He's #1 in the world. Also, entrepreneur, author, and top-ranked podcast host, Ed Mylett. Wow, I thought that like Call Her Daddy was Call Her Daddy was number 1, and or the Kelseys or Rogan. I think also there's another one called the Midas Touch Brothers. Those are big podcasts. I didn't know that Ed Milet was that big. Clown of Carnage is going to need to get bitch slapped because, and so is David. So you guys are veterans of the show chat. You do realize that we've had numerous discussions on here about how it's not a great idea to steal the thunder of the guy doing all the heavy lifting. So there have been show chat members who have had to sit down for a little bit when they steal thunder. I don't care for that at all. I don't know how you could assume that I wouldn't touch on what you're trying to touch on right now. You two dumbasses. David in Hudsonville, enjoy your time out. And Black Belt Nick, how about eating some time out? Also there, every one of these people they look suspicious to me. Founder of Auntie Anne's Pretzels, Ann Byler, she's going to be there. Paul and Hannah McClure of Bethel Music. There are some people that you've heard of. Star of Duck Dynasty, Willie Robertson. I thought that guy was dead. I thought he died. Willie Robertson is going to be there. Calvin Johnson, Hall of Famer, former Detroit Lion legend, one of the best who's ever laced him up. Aram says, why did they get the hammer? They got the hammer because they revealed before I revealed that Tim Tebow, which I'm telling you now, is at Life Surge Grand Rapids. If I'm there, I don't really want to hear Tim Tebow talk about anything other than his failed NFL career and about how he was a virgin, a very, very famous virgin. And I think the only thing interesting about Tim Tebow is that he said, and I believe him, that he was a virgin all the way up until marriage. And I think that is more of a feat than winning a football game. Kuiper says, why would this be on a Saturday when college football is on? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they expect that the people who are interested in wealth, wisdom, what else? Worship and work will be more interested. It's all shit. I mean, the Michigan team is playing someone shitty out of Central Michigan. They suck. Probably because those games are going to be a blowout. Like Michigan State's going to murder Youngstown, most likely. And Michigan is likely going to murder Central. So everybody. Besides, the fucking Michigan game, you can't even see it on any TV other than like some fucking streaming service. Tim Tebow was a virgin all the way up until marriage. Now, think about the temptation. Gigantic, handsome, ripped, muscular athlete. When he was in college, he won the Heisman Trophy. He was on the top of the world. He went into the pros. He actually he had some success in the pros only because he was powered by Jesus. You know how the athletes say, thank you, Jesus? Tebow actually was saying it because Jesus actually did do things for him. Jesus actually helped Tim Tebow win football games because something happened to Tim Tebow. When he left college, he was horrible as a pro football player. And despite being horrible, he was actually able to win some big games as a pro football player. So the whole business of him being a virgin and then saving his virginity for marriage, I think, is quite a feat. And what I would want to know is he needs to be honest with people. Like, he needs to be asked the question and he has to answer. So, look, man, you no doubt pounded your own pud, right? You had to have. Or does he just ignore the sexual urges and lets his body have a nocturnal emission? Which that does, somewhat settle things down. Like if you're super horny and you wake up and it's like, oh my God, what the fuck? You have controlled your horny level there. Amy says he's probably one of those guys that doesn't count anal or BJs. I personally don't believe him. I do. I believe that he did do that. I think that feat is just as impressive as winning those football games with Jesus in the huddle. And then if he did jack his joint and or have a nocturnal emission, what did you do about that? Did you did you call your religious leader and tell them? Did you tell your mom? Did you show your mom what you did? Did you taste it? I mean, what I mean, I don't know. What actually happened there? And then let's just say, for the sake of this discussion, he is able to control himself. He doesn't touch himself, and for some reason does not have any nocturnal emissions. Wet dream. And then gets married to that woman, whoever his lovely better half is. Can you imagine? Oh. She would look like a gigantic life-size toaster strudel. Big Buddha says, I would pay to watch a show where you interviewed him with these questions. LOL. Easy. Did you end up buying the ultimate ticket to get your picture with Willie, Tebow, and Megatron? Stevie says he probably was a two-pump chump. Starman says Laura Branigan starts to play in the background. All right, so Tim Tebow in town. Some of you knew about that before I talked about it on here because Black Belt Nick and Dave in Hudsonville decided to tell everybody what was going on the Dave and Black Belt Nick show. As I understand it, it's $500 a ticket for Life Surge Grand Rapids. All right. If I'm on the radio when this event is happening, I'm getting these people on the air. They're dying to get some publicity. This might even be something that I am able to get these guys on the air. I'm going to give it the college try. Say, hello, Life Surge, Eric Zane Show podcast. I noticed that you have the number one podcaster in America with you. I am the number one podcast in Grand Rapids. I have no idea if that's true, by the way. Will you come on to promote Life Surge? Okay. I have to let the dogs out here. So this is going to be a longer than normal intermission. Before I let you go, though, I am going to kick out Facebook and YouTube. Thank you so much for being here. Follow with a week free on Patreon. Patreon.com/Eric Zane. Thank you for